I didn't charge it. Sorry about that. So apparently, right, I'm in Starbucks just trying to stay stuff like that. Trying to see if I can get my phone charged up. Yeah, but I don't know, there's something going on. Like maybe it was just the cord, unfortunately. Can you guys hear me? I hope you guys can hear me so that we can get more deeper into it. Because as you see in the title, right, it says, women want equality. And the effects, low birth rates, no sex, what else did I say? Bad breakups, all of these things that we see that's letting America be divided right now. A lot of people talk about the gender war, men versus women versus men, more all of this stuff, race, religion, all ways, to keep us from getting to the goal. We all in survival mode daily. Everybody's like skeptical. Everybody's picking and choose. They selective who, they want to put their wariness or their scheming and trying to target, attract people to go into certain basic, how can I say, storms, you know what I mean? Because that's what it is. You're constantly gonna be getting rained on. Just trying to live, just trying to survive. I mean, the average American, the average human right now is going through a bunch of tide, turmoil, very rarely do we see successful guys, men and women just living and having their way out here. I mean, it's not really realistic to believe. So, to my knowledge, we see more people that are being disrupted and having difficulty on their own. I mean, you rarely even see that. So it's like you need support, you need help, you need that torch to be passed in order to get past and, to afford basic everyday living. The cost has risen so high that it's just, it's not achievable, doing it on your own without having some type of assistance, whether it be family, friends, government. It's getting tight, it's getting hard for most people. But it's like, we hard on each other, and we should pay attention and not be so critical. We discover that millions of Americans have moved back in with their parents. Now, do people really want to live with their parents and under their parents' roof and in their parents' space after they've already been raised since kids and they've been taught to be on their own and self-sufficient? No. Majority of people don't want to. But we have to out of survival, because what other choice do you have but to fall behind on your bills and then be taken advantage of by scams or by, your job because you can't get the amount of hours that you may need. So now you got to pick up many different trades to make more income, just to be safe. It's like before you work yourself to death, it's easier just to move back with your family, right? And just let things, be a little easier and relief for you. So we see millions of Americans have moved back in with their parents. Millions of women now under the age of 30 aren't even having kids. So the birth rate is becoming lower because we don't see those teen pregnancies. That was the first group of mothers that they have said to stop having kids. So that's nature taking its course, but also natural selection to where, we seen before more women were not born of, having kids early before their time. So they didn't understand, the mistakes of it and where it can land them. So we don't know if it's really a good or a bad thing, because we're looking at it like, okay, women are becoming more, selfish or more aware of their role in society, to where they are no longer allowing themselves to become mothers before they are sure or before they're ready, which is all, fine and dandy if we're just looking at it from a perspective of, okay, so maybe they don't want to give their life or they don't want to devote their time to being mothers. But what is going to be the solution to the family structure, or, the one who has to sacrifice to now take care of the kids and cook and clean and play these roles? And it's just, it's a little bit scary because, we don't have no control over the future now, because more people are deciding to opt out and say they don't want to play the game of life how it has always been played. Now they want to try to manipulate it so they can have their own outcome. And it's, it's devastating. We see that, people is not even making it to their 30s nowadays. Most people with depression and suicide rates is through the roof, especially with men, fighting and killing each other or surviving sickness and the pandemic. It's like, there's so many things that we're discovering. People ain't even desiring to be in their 30s and 40s because they feel old, or they feel like if they don't have control of finances and the way that their life is going, that they'll rather not participate, which is, this is why we see the mass shootings, we see the different things, people trying to rule over others and their opinions. It's really, really a lot of people catching strays out here, man, for things that they can't even control. They may or may not be a part of altogether, but and so this is how people jump into conclusions and being fools in their own assumptions. They're not using their mind. A lot of us, we're not inclined, or we're not being, challenged to think critically and to be able to, pivotally move and have a balance, because we, let things go so far these days. It's not necessarily the most astute or astounding, hopefully y'all can hear me. I don't want y'all to miss this knowledge and this opinion, but I just got to speak on what's on my mind, because I feel like the times and the signs of what we're looking at is really not something that we should be just overlooking, so quickly and so abruptly. A lot of people, they just feel like, don't worry about it, don't pay attention, and no matter how ugly it get, as long as it doesn't hit your home and you're not feeling it, then it's nothing. But I'm kind of looking at the different approach and kind of seeing like, okay, what are we gonna see in the near future, in the next few years? Men don't want to be men, women don't want to be women, women don't want to be women, and who's gonna fill these roles? How are people gonna be able to survive? Exposing the truth and what they're really trying to get at and use for better, for worse. How's this thing gonna turn out? Because we really see it's really not looking how it should. It hurts, especially if you get left out and you don't get picked. That's really the worst feeling. It's like you don't have the home, you don't have nowhere to turn or nowhere to go. So as long as you're not that, then I guess it's better to be, or to have something and nothing in the event or reality to that extent, right? So that's what we're talking about. That's what we're dealing with. 15 minutes in. I'm sorry if y'all couldn't hear me the best. I'm trying to get my mic charged up before I really start to cook and let things roll off in the dust and get soaked up. Because we got the experience and we kind of see where it's going. A lot of people let the delusion or the delirious of the social media understand that picking and choosing is a part of, it says a lot, when it comes to what we're doing and how we're moving. And, when you're not a part of the program, you gotta find the ways, you gotta make your own rules, you know what I'm saying? Because you gotta stop and say, hey, if y'all gonna leave me out, then that's fine. If I'm invisible in today's society and world, but don't expect me to participate and try to be like everybody else, but I'm not getting that same treatment. That's what people are saying. They feeling like they getting bullied or they not able to live out their own life and their opinions and their truth for what it's worth. So that's one of the things like I could relate to and like try to get people to understand that you can't really judge the next person if you not in their shoes. Don't try to be like thinking it's all one-sided. It can go many different ways. It's all right when you don't have it all mapped out. I'm trying to charge my other phone. I'm trying to see if I can get a little bit double dose, get on the iPhone and the Android. Two damn phones at the same damn time. I'm supposed to get a whole we're gonna be getting some more equipment, get another stand still, another mic, more cameras, more action, more to combat and put out the messages, for people to live and love what they do and love who love you. I love that for us. Because you can't force nobody. You can't just say all for one or try to lump us all in one box. That's what we're starting to see. We all human beings. It's all one race out here, man. So believe it or not, they try to have you go against the next person just for a quick little come up. It's not gonna work. The real ones is gonna be real no matter what. We're gonna operate how we're supposed to because we know how we gotta grind out here. We know the hurt, the pain, the hate. It's not getting nobody nowhere. So it's like it's better to be safe than sorry. So you can't be mad. You just gotta be able to play the game, take your licks, get your lick backs, but remain humble, do numbers, you know what I'm saying? Like, put yourself first, don't let nobody above you because they're going to leave you out to rot in the worst way, and then you're going to be out here struggling when you the same person who was riding and holding it down and letting everybody else come up over your ways and your style. And now you stuck out here, down and out. But that's God, God, He give us all a chance without a doubt. It's just about what you gonna do with it. This is your new way of living. This is your new mentality that you gotta get through it with. You gotta be honest, man. We can't keep lying to ourselves. The older we get, the more we gotta be comfortable in our skin. Be able to ride it out. We gotta be able to understand where we're trying to go. Just let it be what it is. We let it play out. For real. But it's not real. The love, the hate, it's gonna always come just as much. You're gonna get 100 times, you're gonna get 10 times as much hate as you do love. So that should tell you right there, when you find something that's not fake, or you find something that will keep you in that state of mind, to want to give and be happy, you should just be happy with it and live and roll with the punches, man, because you're gonna get older, you're gonna be able to keep going. understanding what you want. But the older you get, the more difficult, harder it is to let yourself be under that influence, because it's like a drug or something. It seduces you, it keeps you listening, it keeps you submitting, it keeps you wanting to compete. You know what I'm saying? You want to give it your all, you want to be the best. You want to be able to ball, you know what I'm saying? And have that connection that don't let nothing get in between. That's something that's going to be hard to find. And now, not to imagine you got all of the standards, you got all of the things that you want in that person. So, it's tough. You got to really understand. You want the money, you want the love, you want the loyalty, the trust, you want it all. Sure. I just want the money. That's what I'm looking for. I ain't thinking about all of that right now, because it's like, if it comes down to it, it ain't gonna miss you, you know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be something that you gotta force it. Nature is natural, so it's gonna be organic. It's just about, making sure you're in the right places, you got the right time in the delivery, and you understanding the universe and the force, you know what I'm saying, that you put out there, because words and spells, of course. So if you want success, then you gotta understand not just manifesting, but taking the time to invest your time for what it is you trying to get. You know what I'm saying? Don't let it fall, don't let the opportunity melt before you could build it up and be yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to be on the next path where it's just going to distract you from the abilities of the creator, the capsules that he protected as a vessel to use yourself as a spirit and the word that you can hear it, you can tell it, you can decipher all of the tools, you could compare it to everybody else that's out there, and apparently that you're not failing, because you're connecting all of the dots and you're bringing the people together so we can all see and we can watch it in real time, how things is transpiring, whether it's real or not, but we know that it's happening. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that for now. And we're gonna get back in. I gotta, like I said, make sure that all of the equipment and the connection is protected, and that we actually getting the message through, because there's so many of my streams where I be getting on here spitting and giving y'all the truth and the energy and the blessings, and they don't even do the numbers it's supposed to. So, we praying, we positive, we bringing the message, we staying the course, and of course, we being the example to actually change the tides and the cards of which we was dealt, to be able to survive out here, because nobody can do it by themselves. We understand that, you can't do it without that help and without that support. So I'm sending y'all much love, thoughts, but we can't be bought, man. So we the machine, we the ones that we got everything we need, and we're gonna be able to teach the people what we was learning, and we gotta be taught so that you can move forward, of course. Make sure y'all smash that like button if you like this video, so I could bring you more and more and more. Tune in, because it's a lot to learn, family. So you're gonna win when you come around winners. Believe me, you can't lose. So make sure you dig deep, man. Every time, you gotta be able to pick and choose for the best. And that's the move that we gotta make. We gotta be about resources. And we gotta be about power. So the time is now. Take the opportunity. Smash that like button. Make sure y'all subscribe to me. Follow, share, comment. We out of here. Go get this other